By definition, poverty is the state of being extremely poor. At first mention of this word, most people think of the ghetto, the depressed, beggars on the street, tattered clothing, or deteriorated buildings. While this may be true for myself included, my experience serving on a mission trip in Jamaica this past December changed my perspective on things. It all started on December 27th when 42 members of the track team came back to school early to go to Jamaica. We left at about 2 in the morning and it was 23 degrees. Imagine 10 minutes later our shock when we get off the plane and it's about 90 degrees and 90% humidity. When we first walked out of the airport, the first things we see are tiki stands selling fresh coconuts, paved roads, palm trees, happy Jamaicans with bright smiling faces, and billboards saying this is netball country. At first I thought, is this really a mission trip? Because it seemed like it was more of a vacation. We waited for what seemed like an hour for transportation, and when it finally arrived, all 42 of us packed into 5 9-passenger white Toyota vans. As soon as we hopped in, we all whipped out our cameras trying to capture the beautiful Jamaica. About 15 minutes in, though, things began to change. The first things to go were the roads. They became more and more decrepit as the roads became extremely curvy and bumpy, and our heads wobbled each and every way. Then shacks began to appear along the road, and it didn't take long for me to realize that this is what some people consider to be home. People walked alongside the road because that was their only mode of transportation, barefoot because they couldn't afford any shoes. There were even stray and starving dogs alongside the road because, unlike in America, they didn't have money to afford pets, and so most dogs were seen as discrepancies or disturbances. Throughout the week, I saw many more instances of what poverty was like. The convenience stores, there were about maybe a quarter of the shelves stocked. Most of it was completely bare. The air conditioning was at a minimum because this was too costly, and the showers were more like a steady stream of cold drops. It was barely even enough to be considered water pressure. Even at night, we would drive alongside the road, and we would see families congregated outside their front porches, trying to get light from the streets because they had to conserve energy within their houses and only use it when they needed it. Despite all of these things, though, and all the extra measures that the Jamaicans had to go through, and the little things that they always came with bright and smiling faces on their faces. They seemed to be the happiest people that I had ever met. They didn't care that they didn't have the newest iPhone or the newest MacBook or Nike Airs. All they cared was that they had each other, and that was what was most impactful for me. I never once saw them complain about the different things that they had to do, and because of this, it really made me reevaluate my life and the things that I thought I needed. As a result, I think the biggest lesson I got was to be more grateful for the things that I have, and just be happy that I have great family and friends to support me along the way.